Well, as we get closer and closer to December, we are keeping our focus very much on protecting yourself in the online space, whether it's banking, using your laptop, using public Wi-Fi's, all of those good things. But have you ever thought about just how dangerous and how much of a threat your cell phone is to your own personal safety? Well, they've very much become more than just a device to call and message people. Essentially, they're our portal to the world. More importantly, they are a link to all your personal information. So emails, to banking, to apps, to online shopping, whatever it might be, even your most used travel routes are on your phone. Your phone knows what you're doing before even you get to do it. So here's the problem, and this is why I'm bringing into the conversation on eNCA, Ilonka Badenhorst from Mobile Services Regulator. Is it WASPA? WASPA? How do I say that, Ilonka? Good morning, and why is it such an easy target for thieves? Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, it's indeed WASPA, which is short for the Wireless Application Service Providers Association. So let's just use the acronym and continue with WASPA. So I think it's important for consumers to realize that each and every time they are connected to the internet, they are at risk from various threats. Now, with the internet and connection, I'm specifically also referring to our mobile phones because that's what we use on our day-to-day basis. Now, we can categorize these risks in a couple of categories. For example, content risks. Here we're looking at exposure to harmful, offensive, inappropriate, or illegal content, and even disinformation. Conduct risks. Here, a consumer's own conduct could potentially make them a victim. For example, a victim of by doing things like sexting or becoming a victim of harassment or cyberbullying. We also have contact risks. Here we're looking at offensive or unwanted messages and contact. And you were looking at online predators and things like sexual grooming and online sexual offenses. Then we also have the more day-to-day offenses that I think more consumers are exposed to potentially on a more regular basis, like online scams, phishing and smishing attempts, viruses and spyware. And then one of the most important things that I think we see in our day-to-day lives are the privacy risks. Here we're talking about the sharing of information, and this can be done by the consumers themselves. For example, when they share personal information or private information on things like social media platforms. Alternatively, when criminals try and hack our phones or they get access to our personal information and then use this for various reasons, for example, identity theft, or extortion, and even things like blackmail. So various threats there.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many threats because, I mean, the one that stands out for me, some advice I was given a few years ago, Ilonka, by another expert was, don't set your home address on your GPS. Maybe your street, but not your actual house number. So at least you can get home roughly where you go, but never actually put your home physical address as a marker on your GPS. So what is WASPA doing about making, I'm going to call them mobile applications, because I suppose they are, whether it's Google Chrome, your banking, Waze, whatever it is. What are you doing as an organization to try and make this safer? What are you telling people to do, and how do you help that?
Okay, so WASPA is a self-regulatory body, and we mobile value-added services that are provided within the mobile space. So we've got a code of conduct that all of our members have to adhere to, and these services are monitored on a 24/7 basis. We also have a complaints procedure that the public can make use of to lodge complaints by visiting our website. But when we're talking about just general things that we could give as advice to the public, and these are things that are, it's information that's available on our website for consumers as protection. As an example, always set a lock screen on your phone. It's so imperative to do that, either by using a password or biometrics or a pattern. Also, things that consumers tend to not do is you have to set a PIN for your SIM card. For example, if your phone is stolen, they could take out your SIM card and insert this into another device and immediately have access to your number, and then they could actually transact and get one-time PINs from your number. So set a SIM PIN so that if it's put into another device or it's switched off, that they have to use a PIN to switch it on again. Now, something that's extremely important is two-factor authentication to set that up. And for all of our important applications, especially our banking apps, and if you use your email and it contains a lot of private information or confidential information, make use of passwords. I know it's extremely annoying to have to use a password every single time that you use an application, but for the day and time that either your phone is physically stolen and somebody's trying to access your personal information, or alternatively, if your phone has been hacked via various means, there's so many ways that people get access to our information, at least you're trying to safeguard your personal information as far as possible.
And that's why I know the passcodes, you're quite right, Ilonka, you're saying that they are annoying, but you cannot make it easy for the criminals because they're going to get it done anyway. You can't help them to get access to your information. It's such good advice, such simple advice, but a lot of people don't do it. They don't have passcodes, excuse me, on their phones. Ilonka, thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate it. Ilonka Badenhorst, General Manager at the Mobile Services Regulator, with some great advice. Head over to their website as well. I'm sure they give more of that advice and guidance. WASPA, WASPA. It's a very long name, but the acronym, I think, is easier to digest. As we now head up